All right, all right. If someone checked on Jim Irsay, oh my gosh, the NFL. You kidding me? I don't blame Irsay for being pissed. Another season, no home primetime games for the Colts on Sunday or Monday night. We'll get into that. Yes, I'm back. Kevin Bowe, another edition of Kevin's Corner podcast, abbreviated version, but the schedule is out, so you will have a podcast in your inbox late Thursday night, recapping the schedule. We'll get back to the weekly routine next week. And if you missed this week's earlier podcast, that hit on a lot of draft notes and some film sessions watching on those guys. But this will be all schedule here on this edition of Kevin's Corner. I assume all of you have seen the schedule. It does me no good to rattle off the 16 games and have you memorize those in your brain. So I'll just go quarter by quarter. And we'll go from there. So the first quarter at Jaguars, Vikings, Jets at Bears. That's the first 4 weeks of the season for the Colts. Honestly, from a season opener standpoint, that's pretty darn good. I know it'll be hot in Jacksonville, but you're going to be favored. And the Colts haven't won a damn opener since 2013. So, again, if you're going to play a team, that might as well be the team to do it. I know you haven't won down there since 2014 either, but still, you would hope at Jags week 1 you could get that done. Vikings, Jets at Bears. You play some good pass rushers early on. I think that's notable about the first 4 weeks. I did see a note. There's no divisional games in the entire NFL weeks 3 or 4. We didn't see like as big of an NFC or I guess cross-conference run on games early on in the season that I think some people thought. But the Colts will play 2 of their NFC games here in the first quarter. It's shocking to me the Colts have not started 2-0 since 2009. So this is a pretty gettable start. I mean, again, at Jacksonville, and then the fact that you come home for 2 straight games. Again, I think that's pretty manageable. Okay, second quarter of the season at Browns, home to the Bengals. The Colts will then have a week 7 bye, and then at Lions and home to the Ravens. So we'll go with the quarters section off by 4 games each. One thing that I note is you really don't have a long, and I put long in quotes, you really don't have a long plane flight until like November. At Jacksonville, yes, but then at Chicago, I mean, hell, you could bus up 65 for that. You could bus up I-69 to play the Lions. You could do the same thing to play the Browns or however you get to Cleveland. Maybe you're taking I-70, but it's very manageable for Colts fans around the state of Indiana, especially in the northern part. They could see some action of their team playing on the road early on. Joe Burrow at Lucas Oil Stadium, obviously, in that Week 6 matchup with the Bengals. And I just look at the first 2 quarters of the season, first half, I should say. It's gettable. You got to be over 500. Especially those first 7 games. At Jacksonville, home to Minnesota, home to the Jets, at Bears, at Browns, home to Cincinnati, the bye week, and at Detroit. Got to be over 500. Got to be over 500. So, Ravens there to end the second quarter. The third quarter of the year, this is the gauntlet. If you guys watch Frank Reich reading off the schedule to his team earlier today, I mean, he mentioned it. The third quarter, this is where it shows up. I mean, brutal. And I guess it starts, a little bit earlier in that Week 9 matchup with Baltimore. But then you are at Tennessee on a short week, Thursday Night Football, home to the Packers, home to the Titans again, and then at the Texans. So just brutal. I mean, a brutal stretch. This is the gauntlet. Every schedule has the gauntlet. This is it. Short week there with Tennessee. That's Baltimore into the at Tennessee game. So in 5 days you play, 2 of the last 4 teams stand in the AFC. You do get the mini bye leading into Green Bay. So there is one benefit of it. And you're going to face the 2 best teams in your division in a 3-week stretch. You're going to face Tennessee weeks 10 and 12, and then you're going to face Houston weeks 13 and 15. So it is a while until you face Houston, and it is a decent while until you face Tennessee as well. But when you see those teams, you're going to see them twice in a 3-week span. For those that care, which should be all of you, round 1 of the Masters will end at about, 7-ish, 7:30 on Thursday night. What is that? Let me see if I can find that. Thursday night, November 12th? Yes, November 12th. And that's great news because the Titans and Colts kick off at 8:20. So the weekend is off. Colts have that mini bye week the same weekend as the Masters. Hallelujah. Thank you, Tiger. Come on, Tiger. Come on. One primetime game. Let's wait. Let's not get on the rant just yet. Let's go for the final quarter, and then I'll rant a little bit. Okay, at Raiders, home to the Texans, at Steelers, and the Jags to finish off the year. What I notice about the back half of the schedule, kind of two things stand out. Tons of AFC teams. Once you play Green Bay in Week 11, you won't play another NFC team the rest of the year. That's the reverse almost of last year. When last year you had those 3 straight NFC South games, weeks 14, 15, and 16. This year, it is a heavy AFC slate late, and they're actually good AFC teams. Like, you don't play any of those mediocre AFC teams or bad AFC teams like you have earlier in the year, in the Jets and in the Bengals and in the Browns and those teams. I mean, these are some good teams. You also go to Vegas. You go to Pittsburgh. So, yeah, it's much more of the gauntlet in November and into December as well. And I look at all these teams, and I think they're all in the playoff race. Titans, Packers, Texans, the Raiders should be in the mix. Again, in the mix. Pittsburgh, assuming Big Ben is healthy, that late into the season. So, yeah, all those stand out. All right, takeaways from the schedule. Jim Irsay's got to be irate. I mean, he's got to be. So, for those of you that missed it, earlier in the year, Irsay, let me pull up the quote. Irsay, just for the Combine, has this press conference, and all of a sudden, he goes on this rant out of the blue, and he's fired up. It's probably one of the more fired up times I've ever seen him. And he goes, this is the quote. One thing I'm disappointed with that I don't understand is why we were what we were, which was a playoff team winning playoff games, and we didn't have one home game on national TV last year. That's unprecedented. Irsay, of course, is referencing the 2019 season. He goes on to say, I don't understand that. So it's something that I just have to pursue. And you know me, I protect the Colts, and I will fight as hard as I can to accomplish the things we do. Well, yeah, that fight didn't go great because no home primetime. Everybody gets one primetime game. The Colts got it. It's Thursday night, and it's on the freaking road. I mean, talk about a middle finger from Roger Goodell in the NFL. Jim Irsay goes on that rant, and that's how you reward him. And I'm stunned by it. Because when you look at these past seasons, they've had Andrew Luck going into all of these years. Like, it's not like Andrew Luck was retired last year when the schedule came out. No. He retired in August. So I thought Phillip Rivers, I thought much better opposing quarterbacks, Lamar Jackson, Aaron Rodgers, Deshaun Watson, even Kirk Cousins, like Big Ben. I mean, I felt like with the quarterback aspect to it, you would have gotten at least a couple of primetime games, especially at home. The last primetime game for the Colts at home, Sunday or Monday night, because Thursday night games to me don't even count. Everybody gets a Thursday night game. The last Sunday night or Monday night game the Colts have had, 2015. 2015. We're now going 5 seasons, folks. 5. 14 primetime games, if you include this Tennessee Thursday nighter here in 2020. 12 on the road. I think the Colts played Denver a few years ago in the Color Rush on Thursday night, and they played Pittsburgh on Thanksgiving. I haven't double-checked this. I haven't really looked into everybody's schedule. I want to say the Colts and Redskins, the only 2 teams with just one prime-timer. Crazy to me. Irsay should be frustrated. Fans should be frustrated. If you're Frank Reich, you're probably happy. Just another little motivational tactic that you can throw in there. Who knows if anybody will care, but whatever. Throw it in there. Might as well. It should be noted that the Colts could be in primetime in Week 15. They host Houston. That is to be determined, the date on that game. That could be December 19th or 20th. So right now, I've got that schedule in front of me. You have your normal Thursday night game that week. You have 2 slots on Saturday at 4:30 and 8:15. They are both open. There are 5 games to pick from. I would assume the other 2 of those 5 will go to Saturday and the other 3 will go to Sunday. The competing games: Bills at Broncos, Panthers at Packers, Texans at Colts, Jets at Rams, Lions at Titans. You'd like to think the Colts would be in the mix for that, right? I mean, hell, because Irsay's going to go on another rant, and rightfully so. I mean, I don't blame him. I mean, I'd be pissed from a revenue standpoint and just getting more national eyes on your team and all of that. But this is the curse, folks. I do not believe in curses at all, but I know some of you do. I've had my in-laws jump on me before that I've thrown out some jinxes. Jacoby Brissett told me that I jinxed him last year, so maybe I should start believing in him. But yeah, the last home primetime game on Sunday or Monday night, folks. 2015 Colts Patriots. Griff Whalen, Colt Anderson, fake punt. It's the curse, 5-year punishment from the NFL. And now that I look at it like that, I can't say I disagree. The Colts probably should be punished for that. 5 years. Seems like a fair punishment. Couple other takeaways. Again, gettable start. You've got to get out of the gate. And I know it sounds like a broken record in past, just in general, the Colts have struggled with, the 0-2 starts or the 1-1 starts. But you look at the schedule, there's an opportunity early on to get something. And I think it's just great to build momentum, and then you're not playing behind the 8 ball like you have done, in some prior seasons. And then the AFC South, from week 2 to week 9, you don't have a single divisional game. So you got at Jags to start off, and then you don't have another divisional opponent till week 10. So yeah, time to get back atop the division. I know I've touched on this briefly, but Jacksonville and Tennessee and Houston, they all have had playoff success, more playoff success in either appearances or how far they've gotten than the Colts have had in recent years, and it's time to change that. The Colts dominated this division like no other from 2002 to 2014, and they haven't done it since. Haven't won the division since 2014. All right, lastly, preseason schedule. Home to the Eagles. That game will be August 13th or 14th, 15th, 16th, or 17th. Any of those dates hasn't been announced yet. Home to the Redskins, Monday Night Football, August 24th. There's your home primetime game. Notable, the day after the Indy 500. What happens if you get a rain out for the Indy 500? At Bills, week 3 of the preseason, and then at Bengals. I think 3rd straight year to the Bengals. So no joint practices to me. Very obvious on that list. Maybe the Eagles would come to you, but nothing too obvious there. All right, everybody. Have a great weekend. Schedule takeaways. Schedule's up on the website. Check that out. Tons of draft content that we've been posting all week long, looking deeper into these prospects. Looked at the big 4 first. Michael Pittman, Jonathan Taylor, Julian Blackmon, and Jacob Eason. So check that out if you haven't already. And stay safe, stay healthy, have fun. Later.